Join Mondo's Elite Notification Squad today to help us create original Dragon Ball content. What's up, everybody? Dragon Ball Reboot by GineReboot is a story that can be best inferred by the author's moniker, without giving anything else away, that is. Check them out on DeviantArt, where you can also read this work for yourself if you so choose, and consider supporting them on Patreon using the links below. Planet Namek. A terrible battle takes place. The intergalactic space tyrant Lord Frieza takes on an unprecedented foe. Even in his 100% state, he finds himself beaten and weary, but his ego has taken the biggest blow of all. Not Goku, but Gine has ascended the Super Saiyan level and brought Frieza to his knees. To fully understand how we got here, we have to travel back in time several years. While we all know the legend of Goku and even his father Bardock, for this story, we're left with the question, what if Goku didn't have to go it alone? What if his mother had been able to be there with him? On planet Vegeta, where brute force dominates and there is no place for the weak, Kakarot is sent off planet, as is customary for low-level Saiyan babies. While the distant hope remains he may return one day as a formidable warrior, the reality is, most babies never return. Gine is seen reaching out for her youngest son, as two other Saiyans hold her back. She begs to be sent with them, but they've had enough of her nonsense, shoving her to the ground even. The bald one tells her to start acting like a Saiyan warrior and forget about her son. And if she even tries to go after him, her punishment will be severe. The other chimes in, a little more politely, telling her that her husband Bardock has just arrived back on planet, and he's hurt. It may do them both well to be with each other, prompting the bald Saiyan to call them a family of losers, asking what else is new, referring to Bardock's injury. This does, however, get Gine's interest, as the two Saiyans walk away bantering. The one on the left talks about how his cousin Nappa always says, "A loser will always be a loser," causing the other to ask if that's why his cousin has the important task of taking care of the prince while he's just left here. And it seems this soldier has the same social intelligence as his cousin, as he can only muster up the comeback, "Shut up," in response. Gine gazes at the sky before slowly making her way down a hallway, heading toward the medical bay in search of her husband, still reeling on the inside for having to leave her son's fate up to Saiyan tradition. As there's nothing she can do about it now, she switches her focus to Bardock before hearing her name called from the next room over. Peering in, a few Saiyans are seen gathered in a room with a turned over table. Gine inquires to what happened. Glancing on the floor, she spots a puddle of blood, causing her to ask if someone's hurt. A soldier tells her that she needs to get better control over Bardock. It seems though he's taken a nasty hit to the head, as he came in here acting all sorts of crazy. The blue-haired warrior next to him adds he was trying to convince everyone to revolt against Frieza, before confirming that the blood on the ground is his. Very much to the concern of Gine, who argues he's supposed to be in a medical machine, demanding to know where he's gone to. They inform her that he was heading towards the observatory. The female Saiyan warns Gine that she better get him to his senses, before he does something stupid to get the whole lot of them in trouble. Taking off, Gine can only wonder what's happening to her family. First Kakarot, and now Bardock is spotted on top of a building, still actively bleeding from his injuries. Staring into the sky, cursing Frieza's name, he promises he won't let him get away with something. As Gine shouts his name from behind, asking her husband what he's doing. Bardock grunts in pain. Rushing to his aid, she asks what happened. While he tries to explain, Gine keeps interrupting him, worried for his safety. He eventually has to yell at her, telling her to shut up and listen, explaining that she needs to steal a space pod and leave for the planet Kakarot was sent to. If she stays here, she will surely die, as Frieza plans to destroy the entire Saiyan race. His own squad has already been disposed of, and soon, Frieza will come to this planet, telling her to look at the sky, and Gine sees what he's talking about. Using the sun as camouflage, Frieza's ship can be seen stalking the planet. While Gine has many questions, Bardock knows there's no time and tells her again to just escape the planet, also asking her to try to locate Raditz. Hopefully he can save himself, but he is still just a kid. Admitting he knows this all seems crazy, she just has to believe him. She runs to her husband one last time, holding him and crying. Without batting an eye, Bardock says that if he can't beat Frieza, it will at least give her time enough to get out of here, making her promise she will survive. The two Saiyans take off in their respective directions, Gine to attempt to be there for her children, and Bardock to save his people. Gine makes her way to an operations room, demanding the coordinates for where her son was sent to. The soldiers refuse, as they aren't allowed to surrender that kind of information, merely asking her to leave. Pushing them aside, one of them calls for security. Using an amazingly convenient interface, she's able to quickly find where Kakarot was sent. As she goes to program the coordinates into another ship, the two Saiyans who tormented her earlier return. Just as she goes to finish, Nappa's cousin sneaks up from behind. While she tries to explain that Frieza's coming to wipe them all out, the shorter of the two tells his partner to just ignore her, as Bardock was spouting the same nonsense, taking it as pretty obvious she's just trying to go after her son. Complicit, they plan to take her straight to King Vegeta, but before they can do anything, the entire planet begins to shake. Gine knows the attack has begun. Figuring it's now or never, she risks injury to herself by hitting her captor with a ki blast at point-blank range. The Saiyan insults Gine on the weak kick, but her goal was to get the scouter, not to lay a haymaker. Then, blasting a hole in the wall, she grabs the scouter and heads out. As she tries to contact Raditz, she's met with an overwhelming pain, believing that her ki blast may have had more recoil than she thought it would. Forcing herself to her feet, she boards a pod while still trying to contact her oldest son. While unsuccessful, she does manage to get into the air, while the others banter on how someone as weak as Gine could get the best of them. And the bald one doesn't take this too lightly. But on a much more serious note, it seems Frieza has launched his genocide attack. As it collides with the planet, she can only cry out in pain knowing there's no way Bardock, or the planet itself, will survive. At the planet's remains, Zarbon demands a report from a nearby soldier, who states that all life forms have been dealt with. There are no survivors. Just then, Frieza waltzes in, and Zarbon confirms this with his master. Frieza rests assured that he doesn't have to worry about that silly legend of the Super Saiyan anymore. That's when they get a ping on their radar. Trying to figure out what's going on, the soldier determines that it must have been his imagination, or maybe a computer glitch. But somewhere in space, even though the capsule suffered immense damage, and Gine has had to resort to the ship's life support system, she is well on her way to planet Earth. Since it'll take about a year to get there, she goes into a deep sleep. However, after the long journey, even the life support, as well as all the other electronics on the ship, begin to fail. Gine believes this may be the end. But that's when the Earth draws into her line of sight. The capsule barely holds together on its entry, even exploding upon impact. But Gine has made it. Getting to her feet, she had hoped that the deep sleep would have healed her wounds a bit, but that doesn't seem to be the case. But the important thing is that she's alive. But as a shadow begins to envelop her, naturally, a dinosaur is no match for the strength of a Saiyan, but not realizing the extent of her previous injuries, she had put the remainder of her energy into that final kick. Unable to move her body, she falls to the ground, saying the names Kakarot and Bardock before losing consciousness. It seems Gine has survived the extinction of the Saiyans, and her participation in the Dragon World is about to change history as we know it.